Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Fullmetal Alchemy, where we try to cover Otaku news and comments and analyze them, talking about super robot wars, about Heaven Burns Red, about magical girls, about giant robots, about politics, etc. And I realize I don't mention this often, but this isn't really a news show. That's also why I stopped calling it a news show. Like if you go back to the older episodes, I used to say news show. Now I'm saying talk show because as in I don't cover breaking news. Like do try to follow news maybe on a kind of daily basis via my Twitter list, but I don't really cover news. I try to cover things you probably haven't heard about, things that aren't trending and don't have dumb Dexero tweets about them. Like sometimes if it's something popular, I'll still talk about it if it's something I like, or if it's something I think I have something interesting to say as analysis, etc. So yeah, and starting with some quick self-PR. So I have the main site with articles when I mainly do in-depth analysis and features, and I avoid doing standard news articles, I avoid writing anything like time sensitive because like I'm not a news writer, I'm not being paid to be a news writer. So my goal is to try to write articles that even if you read like maybe even like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now on, like it will still be like interesting analysis, obviously within that time frame. Like it will still be in-depth analysis of certain subjects and certain series, certain games, certain anime, manga, light novels, etc. And plus the usual talk about politics via otaku culture and the usual talk about games media. And most probably like a few weeks ago, I did an article talking about Japanese games media. If you check it out, I think that's one of the best article I wrote recently. Like this article regarding Japanese games media, most notably those owned by Kadokawa, Famitsu, and Dengeki, and then some of the others one as well. So yeah, and last but not least, you also have the coffee. So if you wanna try, if you are rich and you've got some money to subscribe, you can subscribe on the coffee for some exclusive articles. So like I'm trying to do some typical anime games blogging, trying to bring again my insight as a kind of anime boomer watching anime for over 30 years, etc. And also you have the $10 a month tier 2 subscription, which includes some most probably translations of Japanese live streams and Japanese news showcase, most probably for some series I like, such as Super Wars. So I did an article for the April 21st Super Wars stream where they announced the new DLC for Super Wars Y, etc. So yeah, if you're interested, please check it out. And last but not least, gotta of course like thank the people who are actually subscribing and helping me out, because this is actually really helpful, even a few people, because it helps me to pay with for the server, for the site, and it helps me out to keep going and keep making these videos, keep making articles. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the people who are actually subscribing as well. So yeah, the first thing I wanted to talk about is, just as I was saying, Bandai Namco released a brand new DLC expansion pack for Super Robot Wars Y, and so you've got 5 series, and I assume like I did an article analyzing the stream and summarizing and translating the stream, and I'm gonna share some of my insight from the article. I think first off, obviously, this is probably going to be a part 2 of this expansion pack, because like even if they said it's around 30 missions in total, which is quite long, like the pack is $30, €30, which is very expensive for only 5 series. So my guess is, I assume they are going to add another 5 series at some point, and because they also did that with the Super Robot 30 expansion pack DLC, so I assume they're going to do the same thing here. So yeah, you've got Ideon, a very good series. Like I need to watch it myself, but she's one of the most famous series that Tomino Ria directed, the director of Gundam. So she's like one of the most iconic series. Like a lot of people will like giant robot series. Already watched it. I need to watch it myself. And they added Belto Chica's Children. And they added the Eureka 7 movies. Eureka 7, it's over 20 years. Like, it celebrated its 20th anniversary last year, and it's a pretty good series. So if you never watched it as well, like, it's also one of the best. It's by far one of the best series of the early 2000s, and really cool original mecha series. Like, so I'm saying it's original, but it's like, at the end of the day, like many series very similar to the original Gundam. So like, it's one of the many series, like, in pop culture in general anyway. If you want to understand pop culture, like, watching the original Gundam is one of the necessary steps together with other series. Like, this is like one of the necessary steps if you want to truly understand pop culture. So yeah, Eureka 7 was one of the best series of the early 2000s, definitely. And they're adding Star Driver as well, the Star Driver movie. And Star Driver as well was one of my favorite series of the 2010s decade. So this is also a pretty original series. So same as Ideon, same as Eureka 7. If you never watched it, I really recommend watching this. It's a really good series. Like, the only thing is, personally, I don't really consider it a mecha series, because at the end of the day, like, the battles could have been anything. Obviously, it's cooler if it's robots, but like, it could have been anything. Like, they could be playing Bomberman, or they could be playing like Street Fighter. Like, it wouldn't really change anything to the story itself. It's not really like, the robots are not really important. Like, it's not a really mecha anime, in my opinion. And just, like, the battles are cool, but like, yeah. And but the story is quite interesting, the characters as well. Then they're adding Idolmaster Xenolosa, which is a series I never watched, and I talked about this a little on my article. So if you wanna check my story with Idolmaster, etc., should subscribe and check out the article. And they're adding Cross Edge as well, and Cross Edge is also like one of the best series of the 2010s, in my opinion. Also a really incredible series, like, about feminism, about, like, there's a really good misogynistic villain, and it's like quite depending on how you interpret it, like, it's a pretty good commentary on, like, otaku culture, on, like, ore no yome. No one says this anymore, but like, how do you say this? Like, it's a really, really good commentary on how misogynistic men think about women. And I don't know how you say this in English, but like, beside misogyny, but yeah, it's like, 女体が好きだけど、女が嫌い、女性が嫌いみたいな男。Like, they're saying like this in Japanese, like, people who love women only for their bodies and who don't actually like women. And the villain in the series is exactly like this, and it's a really, really good example and what makes this so bad, why misogyny is so bad. And it's a really good, like, you could say, feminist series in a way. Like, it's a really, really good series. Like, I'm surprised it's not more popular, sadly. I guess because people, obviously, they judge by the first episode, and they judge by the cover. But anyway, and the expansion pack, if you buy it, you also get a brand new difficulty level, which makes it so you get less experience and less money, and the upgrades will cost more money. The enemy units will be even more strengthened. And another big change is how you don't get EXP for using resupply and repair, and you can't loop game over loops to grind either, and you can't use spirit commands at all during enemy phase as well, which is just like the older Super Bot Wars games. So, like, besides the DLC series, they're also trying to add some more value to the pack, to the expansion pack, by adding this difficulty level as well, which is a good thing. And the thing I wanted to say about the DLCs is, like, I'm just worried that Bandai Namco might end up on Studio Bandai Namco Forges, which is the new name of Presto, which was then named BB Studios. Like, it was Presto, like, in the 90s up until the 2000s, and then they became BB Studios. And now, with the release of Super Bot Wars Y, they renamed it again. It's called Bandai Namco Forges, but it's a studio that's developing the Super Bot Wars game since over 35 years now. And like, what I'm worried about with the DLCs is how they might rely too much on the DLCs in both in terms of gaining financial support for the future games and both in terms of fan service, because like it's really cool that for example Ideon hasn't been in Super Wars since Alpha 3, so it's been like 20 years, and like it's really nice that they're bringing back older series like this, even if like there isn't like some anything like marketable about it. Like it's not like Ideon is getting a sequel or anything, right? So in terms of like capitalism and how the higher ups and how the Bandai Namco higher ups are thinking, like there's nothing of value in adding Ideon now, if that makes sense, if you think about only money wise. But it's cool that they're doing it for the fans anyway, because it's been like 20 years, etc. But like I wish it was part of the original main cast of a game instead of DLC, because when it's DLC, like it's not fully integrated in the game story. Like, and even though I guess the DLCs are pretty long, like I haven't played it myself though, so I'm just going off vibes. But I think like the DLC like develops the series quite a bit. But like if it's in the game from the start and the background, like for when it comes to Super Wars Y, like for example the rival war stuff, the ninja stuff, like the stuff with Domon, the stuff like Domon being Shin's teachers, master, etc. All this kind of stuff. Like I wish they put this DLC series in the main cast from the start, so this way they can develop the characters this way, right? Because like for now, what I'm worried about is, imagine if like there's some series that haven't been in Support Wars for a very long time that finally come back. For example, Take Command Blade, which is one of my favorite series, which is also like, it's also one of the best series of the 90s, like if you never watched it. Like the animation most of the time is kind of quite mediocre, but the story is like really incredible, and it's definitely one of the best sci-fi and one of the best mecha anime. But yeah, like for example, the Command Blade, it wasn't in a Support Wars for over 20 years as well, since like Support Wars the W on DS, on Nintendo DS. So it's been like almost 20 years now. So, and also, it's never been in a voiced Super Bot Wars as well, because it's only on portable games, so it's never been in a voiced Super Bot Wars. So I'm assuming it's going to come back pretty soon, but yeah, if it comes back at DLC, I'd be pretty bummed, because I hope it's like part of a series from the get-go, so this way they can develop the character, etc. And same with Escaflowne as well, Tenku no Escaflowne, like it was celebrating its 30th anniversary last month in April. It's been 30 years since the series aired in Japan. I watched it first with the French dub when it aired in France in like maybe 1919 or something, in 2000 or 1919. And like, this is also one of the best series of all time and a masterpiece. And like, it's only been on Super Boat Wars Impact Compact 3 on WonderSwan, which is also was 20 years ago. So I'm assuming it's going to come back at some point as well in a Super Boat Wars game, but I really hope it's going to be part of a game's cast from the beginning instead of being DLC, because obviously I'll be happy to see it as DLC, but like it doesn't hit the same, right? It doesn't hit the same when you've got a series which is part of the cast from the beginning, and it's part of the world building, and it's part of all the development through the game, instead of like it's just DLC, and like it's not as much, it's not as cool, it's not as interesting, it's not as funny, and just less interactions between the characters, just less interactions between the villains of one series and another series, etc. So like it's cool that they're doing more DLCs, and like I'm looking forward to what the part 2 of the expansion pack will be, because there's definitely going to be a part 2 in my opinion. But like I'm scared, hopefully like I'll be happy obviously if Scaffolding, for example, is part of the DLC, but like at the same time I'll be really disappointed, because I want it to be part of a future game from the beginning. And so yeah, and like Bandai Namco not lately has a lot of issues. Like if you look at the Tales of series, like I already did talk about this, like Bandai Namco has a lot of issues, for example, when it comes to Tales of series and how it's being treated, and how like for its 30th anniversary, like there hasn't been anything big so far, and like how people were complaining about like Japanese fans are complaining how there's no remasters, there's no remakes, etc. So this is one of the many things showing Bandai Namco nowadays is sadly not handling most of their IPs correctly, in my opinion. So it's the same for Support Wars as well, in how like the developers Bandai Namco Forges definitely don't have a lot of budget, definitely don't have a lot of time. So this is why they have to do all these DLCs to try to get some money, and because of the engine change as well. This is also something I explained in a past article. All Super Robot Wars games until Y not included were using the same engine for over 25 years, and they finally switched to Unity engine with Super Robot Wars Y, and they had to remake all the animations. So this is also why they can't just release a new OG game, because they can't just reuse the, like, this is something I explained in this article as well. They can't just reuse the animations from Moon Readers, etc., because they need to remake everything in the new engine. So even if they just copy paste the animations, it still takes a lot of time to actually remake them with the new engine. So this is one of the reasons why they did say in 2021 that they're working on a new OG game, but like it hasn't been. There's been no news since then, because it must take a lot of time to redo everything. So yeah, and like this also, this is what I explained here. So I think the people of Bandai Namco Forges, the new name of Studio BB, are trying their best despite the odds, and like it's clear they don't have much resources to work with, and like things could be worse, seeing how the Bandai Namco is handling Tekken 8 of the Telltale series. So yeah, and another example like no one in English is talking about is how the Aikatsu Academy streamers, it was VTubers that Bandai Namco launched like 1 year and a half. They're closing down, and the talents behind the characters, they're still going to be active with concerts, etc. And they must also be announced there's going to be a concert in July, and a new Aikatsu concert in July to celebrate the second anniversary of Aikatsu Academy with all the 4 talents. But they're not streaming anymore because like I need to try and translate this interview when I have the time one day, inshallah. But like, long story short, sadly, it wasn't very successful, which makes sense, obviously, because Aikatsu is primarily aimed at children. So like, if you don't have an anime on TV, etc., it's very difficult to get a new children audience for this kind of projects. So like, and obviously, like, children, even if they watch the streams, they're not going to send some super chats. They're not going to they're not going to subscribe. They don't have the money. So like I can't even begin to imagine like how hard it was for these 4 girls like doing the Aikatsu Academy thing, because this is also something I never talk about because I want to make a proper article about it. But I found the job listings for Aikatsu Academy back when the project was about to start, and for the auditions, basically they did. And like, you can tell how hard it was, and you can tell how these 4 women like must have like. And I was watching Yumemi, Himeno Yumemi, that's her name, the pink one. This is the one I watched the streams the most, the pink one, because she was mostly streaming Ace Attorney games. I was watching her streams for that, because she was playing through 1, 2, 3. I played, so I watched this. I watched her streams for free. And like, sadly, like, you can tell that Bandai Namco like is not taking the right decisions, and for this as well, like Aikatsu Academy definitely didn't meet their expectations. So this is why they're stopping the project, and they're only going to move forward with idle concert, with virtual concerts, because at the end of the day, this is what a lot of corporate VTubers do, and this is also why I tend to avoid calling them VTubers now. Like, it's not because I don't consider them VTubers, it's just like the truth, because they're, at the end of the day, there's just idols, like the Spice on Wolf Life, like, what was the name, like Subaru, like Suirei, like something Suirei, for example. Like, she's at the end of the day, she's not a streamer, she's just an idol, she's just a singer. So singing activities is definitely what gives Hololive, Spice and Wolf Life the most money, and I assume it's the same for Nijisanji as well. So like, at the end of the day, like, it's not really streaming that makes them popular, corporate VTubers popular. It's the events, the merch, and the live concerts, the virtual live concerts. So Aikatsu Academy is going to go towards that as well. But like maybe this will also depend on how this concert goes. Like if this concert doesn't get popular, like sadly, I don't think they will continue doing them. So yeah, and yeah, so this is it for. That's all I wanted to say regarding Super Buttrose. So yeah, I guess that's it for this video. So yeah, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and to leave some comments. It helps me out with the algorithm and stuff because I don't want to really play the SEO game anymore. Like I don't want to play the algorithm game on YouTube and do some dumb titles for the videos and stuff. But still, if you do leave a thumbs up and subscribe, etc., it really helps. You can also subscribe to the site for free to get the newer articles on your mailbox directly. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.